Hey everybody on YouTube. Today I thought I'd take out a few minutes to do a Q&A or a vintage video repair. I've been getting an awful lot of emails from people. This past week I've got a lot of emails that people said, why don't you cover more on Betamax VCR repair? Well, today you're going to get your wish, and I'm also going to give you my recommendations and basically tell you a little bit more about the Betamax VCR and what I've noticed over the years on repairing these machines. So let's get into this. First of all, if you are recovering Betamax VCRs, you want a heavy-duty powerhouse to play these tapes back. All Betamax VCRs today, videotapes, are going sticky. The Betamax tape and the shells are harder to spin in the shells during playback. You will find there's a lot of issues with that. And they're not like when the videotapes were new in the early days. A lot of people have been asking me about Betamax VCRs, the top loaders and the front loaders. Okay, there were several top loader machines in the early days of Betamax that were pretty good. They were heavy duty, but the machines weighed about 80 pounds, but those were actually really good machines. So, all right, they slimmed them down and went to front loaders. Okay, that's a good thing and that's a bad thing. All right. The front loaders would use this mechanism you see. It's a pendulum motor drive mechanism. Real piece of crap. I mean, I'm talking piece of crap, people. This thing, the motor on this pendulum flip drive it's not real powerful. It spins real well. But when these tapes that are sticky or they have problematic shells, no matter what front loader you got, it still would have a hard time dragging those tapes through the machine. And that's because of this pendulum setup that you see here. All right, the pendulum setup, it was a good idea. They did it for cost efficiency. They were trying to save money. And they figured, oh, we'll just use one motor to drive both systems. But, you know, since Betamax's videotapes are the most problematic videotapes out there, it really wasn't a good idea. It was a very bad design. Sony knew it. They didn't want to correct it because the one system that I'm going to talk about that they did have, the ultimate system, they did not want to go back to that system because it was much more expensive. All right, if you're looking for a Betamax VCR, let me walk you through this. Most of the systems use this pendulum Betamax mechanism. Pure garbage. You don't want those systems. They're front loaders. Just because they're front loaders does not mean they're a good machine. And if you got older Betamax tapes, you're going to have a hell of a time getting those tapes to play through on those machines. You really will. I've experienced this with so many customers. I've worked on hundreds of Betamax machines over the years. So listen to what I'm telling you. All right, today we're going to talk about the best Betamax VCR ever made, in my opinion. I recommend this one. It really is a really high-end Betamax machine. I think it's the best one ever made. Okay, it may not have all the bells and whistles with stereo and all this crap that they put on all the front loaders, which really doesn't matter with older Betamax tapes anyways, because most of them were recorded with the consumer home ones. So, I just think all the bells and whistles on those, if that's why you're buying them, you're wasting your money. If you want a good Betamax machine, professional, that will do the job and get your tapes to play, all right, this is the model you want to get. It's a Betamax Sl-2500. All right, this machine is, in my opinion, the best ever made. I come across many of them, but this is highly recommended. As you see, it's got a professional power supply. Most of the Betamax machines do not. They have just the standard configuration board power supply. This has a professional power supply. This has some of the professional plugins in the back of it. And of course, it does not have stereo. You do have to do a mini to a split to get your stereo audio, but that's no big deal. On top of it, you've got what's called a metal loading carriage. All right, this is awesome, people. All the other front loader loading carriages were plastic, complete junk. They would jam, they would go off track. Sometimes they wouldn't even suck the tape in the machine. They were just such garbage. This thing has an all-metal gear loading carriage that drags the tape into the machine. Very highly recommended. Then on top of it, it's got an aluminum bottom plate that everything is mounted on. Okay, it's got like a heavy-duty aluminum plate. Another heavy-duty feature to it. But the biggest feature to this Sony Sl-2500 is it has an all-motor drive mechanism. Very high quality. This is what you want, especially with Betamax tapes that suck as they are. They don't even want to play in most of these Betamax machines because the shells, they're sticky in the shells. The tapes are having a hard time trying to spin inside the shells from sitting from years of, in boxes or whatever. They're not like VHSs where they're free flowing. They have more of a drag to them. So most of the older Betamax machines will not play those. They will have a hard time trying to drag the tape in the machine. Sometimes even loading them, you're going to have an issue. Like I said, there's a lot of front loader machines out there. They have all plastic stuff inside of them, and a lot of them use that front pendulum drive mechanism. Complete garbage. Garbage. I mean, like I said, I do fix those models, but I do not prefer those for professional transfers. In my opinion, I prefer this model. It's the Sl-2500. It's very high quality. It's very well built. And I was amazed because it's sort of like Betacam SP. It's got its own individual drive motors for the spindles. That's what you want. If they have its own individual drive motor, you're talking powerhouse. It's going to pull those tapes through the machine. And this machine goes for the 9 miles. I mean, it is high quality. It's very well built. Great design. I mean, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that came out on the front loaders down the road, like stereo and all that. But who needs any of that crap? You're playing Betamax tapes from probably the early 80s, and most of them never were in stereo anyways. You just want them to actually play. You could split the audio off. It's got a great power supply, but it's got some high-end connectors on the back of it. I mean, you could still, like I said, you could do everything you need with this thing. It's got a great front loading carriage that's metal and all. Like I said, it's got a lot of the features with the good buttons to rewind, fast forward, and various things. It shows you your tape mechanism, how much tape is loaded in the machine with a little indicator on the front. It's just a very high-end model. So if you're looking for a professional Betamax machine, you want a Sony Sl-2500. It's an all-motor-driven Betamax drive unit. It will play the most problematic Betamax tapes out there. Trust me. I've been working on Betamax VCRs for years, and I keep coming across this particular model, and every time I come across this model, I keep thinking to myself, I'm going to make a video about this machine. I think people need to know that the Sony Sl-2500 was the best machine out of all the Betamax machines ever made. So, if you have any questions about this model, like I said, it's very high-end. It's got an awesome video head to it. It's got an all-motor-driven mechanism for playback and rewind. Both sides has its own individual motor. You can't beat this. It's like a Betacam SP broadcast machine. It really is. So if you're looking for a Betamax VCR for tape conversions, do not buy just any front loader. You do have to be particular. And if you guys want something that's really high quality and you've got a lot of problematic Betamax tapes, go with something that's going to get the tapes through the machine. I mean, this machine has the power behind it. It's a Betamax Sl-2500. Highly recommended. So if you're out there looking for one, this is the one you want to buy. All right, hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, get back to me. I'd be glad to answer any of your questions.